Hey Dayton, it's me, Aaron. So I just wanted to show you where I was at with my thinking on this project, because I feel like I'm at this point where I'm at this kind of crossroads where the project can go this way or that way. The way I want, the way I originally thought that it could go was based entirely on just the shipping and the install. So it was a much more light piece. I think I'd talk to you about, where is that guy? Doing something with these kind of animals, if we did them life-size animals that were essentially just foam core. This is based on, this is kind of riffing off of how I build dioramas, where I start with very light. I would do these as sort of stand-ins, you know, for the real animal, and sort of developed the diorama around them. They're just stand-ins, right? So, but I've always wanted to do something with those little foam core animals, because every time they'd be hanging around the studio, people would come in, be like, they love them. They just kind of pick them up and kind of pet them. They're lovely little foam core animals. So I thought maybe, because of shipping reasons, maybe it would be best to do something with those, which would require a longer install. Like I'd be installing for a couple of days, you know, getting like, I don't know, 100 foam core animals in there like a stampede, like sort of jam-packed, you know, and installing some lighting that would accentuate them and bring it into that spectacular thing that you're looking for, and which I'm going for, that kind of like show-stopping spectacular thing. Some lighting with that foam core stuff, especially lighting at night, could work, and it could just be boxed up and shipped there, and then either boxed up and shipped back, or destroyed, or donated, or whatever at the end. So there was sort of like, there was like an ease of that. But then we had our meeting, and we talked about, you know, that there's some money involved here, that, you know, we could go with something a little bit bigger and more spectacular. Let's not hold back. So then I thought, well, what based on that conversation, well, maybe I could think a little bit bigger and do something that I've been wanting to do for a long time, and that's like for an art project, for an art show, and that's to build, instead of foam core animal, like a very realistic kind of animal. Oh, my wife is calling. I got to hang up on her. So that led me to thinking maybe a life-size wolf, right? Two of them, one for each window, because they would fill in the space pretty nicely. And this is our little scale model here. People could walk on the street, and we could even do like lighting and stuff at work. What makes this thing interesting would be that there would be a landscape, or a diorama, actually just a whole diorama of Springdale as it was in, I'm thinking maybe the 1970s or something, because I think that would look cool, of like some kind of riffing off of a diorama of Springdale in the 1970s, built right inside the wolf. And that's coming off of the series of work I'm doing right now for a different show. I've got these birds. I'm making like a dozen of these birds right now. There's some flying. These are whooping cranes that are showing in a space that's kind of on the migration path, or the end migration path for these whooping cranes. So each of these dozen or so whooping cranes are gonna be like whooping crane on the bottom, but on the top, you can see that is like a landscape. And so all 12 of them are gonna have different landscapes coming off of them, sort of like, where's my tree? These sorts of things. Where's my tree? There's my tree. You know, something like this where there's trees and stuff, and each one's going to represent a different sort of stopping point on the migration path for these whooping cranes. So each landscape's going to have, you know, features of whatever state or whatever it is that they're in. So I love these animals. These are so cool. These like part sculpture, part dioramas coming together in some kind of conceptual way. So we could do that with the wolf for Springdale, but and we could build it on, I could build them on wheels. So all they had to do is like wheeled on a truck and then wheeled into the space. And then, you know, this little, just put wheels on the bottom right here. Install is simple, right? Install is just wheel it in, and when it's done, wheel it out. So, but the wolf is a lot more expensive and just a little bit more time consuming. I would have to drive down there with a truck, which I don't mind doing. I actually don't mind driving there. But then we have probably storage for these things when they're done, because I don't know if I'm going to be able to, I probably won't be able to pick them up like the day the show comes down, so I might have, so that's a little bit more problematic, some more questions if we do the wolf. The wolf's also a lot more expensive. I mean, we're talking like $10,000, $12,000 for something like that. Maybe less, but you know, these things tend to balloon. These more difficult projects just tend to, you know, balloon and take 100 hours more than you think it's going to. But install would be easy, and deinstall wouldn't be so bad. Versus these foam core, which I got 2 interns now. Another one showed up. So, you know, the 3 of us can spend the summer making foam core animals and hanging them from the ceiling in there and making a whole stampede of these things. And then I just come down to Springdale and spend a couple of days installing and you know, installing during the day, drinking at night. And this is a lot less expensive, you know. We're just talking like half the cost, maybe like $4,000 or $5,000 or something for the foam core. I haven't done the budget for the foam core yet, but I've started to put the numbers together for the wolf, and that's where I was like, oh no, maybe this is getting a little bit too big. But you know, I tend to dream big, like we do in Chicago, right? No small plans, and then you whittle them down from there. So that's where I'm at. These 2 things. Do you think I should go like the less expensive, easier to just mail and ship foam core, or do I do the more expensive version, which could be like $10,000 or $12,000? And then the wolves would also have some blue lighting at night, so that when people are driving past down the street, they look like these 2 blue glowing cubes with these like wolf diorama things inside them. Could be like really spectacular and could be really eye-catching. And that's very relates a lot to the local scene, the local history. We could even put like a little diorama of the famous hardware building itself in here, and you know, some greeneries and things like that. Oops. You know, I could send you some photographs, some quick Photoshop ones that we've done. The proposal is just being sort of, you know, still being worked out, so we haven't had our final photographs, but I'll send you the ones I've got right now. So where am I thinking with that now? So yeah, so this one would be, these wolves would have a lot, the full-size wolf would be very, you know, site-specific, talk to the history of the area, the depletion of the wolf population for the urban growth. You know, there's a lot of conceptual things happening with the wolves, and we could do like actual dioramas of the local scene inside here. And there'll be 2 of them, 1 for each window, versus the less expensive one. That could be really cool to have, like, you know, stampedes of animals, of everything going, filling up those 2 windows with some like lighting of some kind. And it's about half the cost, and it's easier to install. So my gut wants to do the wolf because it's just bigger and more awesome. And but I want to know your thoughts on this, because I can go either direction at this point, and I'm at the point now where I need to kind of make that decision. So I thought, put this video together because it's a little bit easier to get my ideas out and let you think about it instead of just responding, you know, to a, you know, Zoom call or during a live during Zoom call. So that's where I'm at. Okay, I'm gonna stop the video now. Let me know what you think.